Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak. I'm in Valley Cottage, New York. We have an action-packed show. I'm joined by my two very close friends, Ralph Sharagan, Massachusetts, Ray Clifford, on the in the shadows of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well, actually, it's not because that's in Cleveland, right, Ray?
Yeah, he's in the shadows of the horseshoe, right?
He's in the shadows of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ray Clifford. We're going to get right to classic trivia. And by the way, how you doing, Ray?
Good. Just hanging in there, just waiting to see. I've been following the Knicks series a little closer than normal. I don't really watch a lot of basketball anymore. I think it's boring as hell, but at least it's playoff time, so it's worth watching.
That was a hell of a series.
It was. That
It
was
was
a
an
great.
unbelievable
It
series.
was.
Yeah, Ray, I thought you were into tattoo art. No, I thought you were a tattoo art collector.
Oh no, I'm going to be a tattoo artist.
Oh, there you go. Ralph, how are you doing?
Well, I was doing well until I heard Ray's getting into tattooing, so that kind of threw me a little.
All right, and yes, congratulations to Jalen Brunson, the Knicks, and Abadani, and Hartenstein, and Hart. All those guys were just unbelievable. But before we start with Ralph's classic trivia, a couple of announcements. Just most Jet fans know later this month, the Jet schedule, and NFL schedule are going to come out, which is always exciting. I'm able to sneak in a couple of weekends with my wife. I surprise her and say we're going to go away, and she says, "Why, the Jets playing?" I go, "I don't know,
Yes, they're by, yeah. You got the
maybe I could,
weekend.
Ralph. I could sneak a trip out to Columbus, Ohio, see my good friend Ray, which is always a good time there.
Get a
But
free tattoo, yeah.
yes, and the second announcement is, I don't know if you guys heard right before we came on the air. One of Ray's favorite players, Odell Beckham Jr., just signed with the Miami Dolphins. It just happened right before we came on the air. So, Ray, any reaction at all, or does he put any sort of fear in you?
Apparently Miami never thinks they have enough receivers. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to really change them very much. I mean, they pretty much had a wide receiver core that was set, and they just keep adding
Did they
more.
draft a wide receiver? I don't remember their draft at all.
I don't even remember their draft.
I don't know. Ralph, any reaction to Odell Beckham Jr. signing with the Fish?
Well, like Ray said, there's only so many passes, per team. So I don't know that he'll have a huge impact. I'd say, it's 50-50 whether he helps them or hurts them. But because if he doesn't, get any looks, he might start getting pissy. But so
Right.
we can only hope.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ralph, you have a classic trivia, but before you do that, just so you guys know, I just looked up the apparently the Dolphins had a lot of draft picks. First round, they took Chop Robinson,
Okay.
and they took Patrick Paul, the offensive tackle from Houston.
Yeah, they needed offensive line.
Fourth round, they took Jalen Wright, running back from Tennessee. I like that guy.
He's fast, I think. Man, yeah.
Then they took in the fifth round Muhammad Kamara, that edge rusher from Colorado State, got a lot of publicity. Sixth round, they took Malik Washington, a wide receiver.
Oh wow, that's a good 6th-round pick.
Yeah, let's see if he sees the field. Another 6th-round pick, Patrick Morris, a safety from California. Here, wow, Ralph, Ray. 7th-round pick, Taj Washington, wide receiver, USC.
So they got Malik Washington and Taj Washington. Wow.
They related.
They got a lot of players.
A lot of skill players. Yeah,
They do.
Did you say they drafted a lineman?
Well, they drafted Patrick Paul in the 2nd round. Yeah, tackle. Yeah, for Houston. Yeah,
He's supposed to be okay. A little bit of a project, but this is about the New York Jets. That's why we're here. That's why our rookies are on the field now. And I got all these reports, and I couldn't believe it. I opened up and I find out there are 6. I didn't think they had enough quarterbacks, guys. I find out there are 6 quarterbacks on the field.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah,
but
the guy from the Georgia State didn't show up, huh?
I don't know what happened to him.
Well, maybe what?
Somebody from Georgia State was there though.
No, it wasn't the quarterback though. Pee Wee was the big name.
Pee Wee from West Florida, which is not a school, it's just a location, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like they went down to the docks in Elizabeth and this morning and said, "Who wants to play quarterback for the weekend?" But anyway, we're here and they're there, and I could tell you the rookie camp is not even a day old. And I am so sick and tired of hearing the comparisons to Malachi Corley to Debo Samuel. I'm so sick of it. It's unbelievable. I can't.
All right, Marty, we'll get into
All
question
right,
number
okay,
one.
okay, Ralph. Let's go to trivia. You know, you know me, but go ahead, Ralph.
Trivia. Okay, presently on the Jets roster, there are 9 players who have either been named to an All-Pro team or been to the Pro Bowl. How many of them can you name?
9 players.
Yeah. Who have either made an All-Pro team or have been to the Pro Bowl with the Jets. Oh, no, actually, not with the Jets. Some with the Jets, some haven't been with the Jets. I'm sorry. We can only dream, right?
Yeah, okay. So that is a good question.
Learn your roster. That's
okay. That's a good question. We're going to think about that, and I'm not even going to cheat, Ray. As you know, Ray accused me of
Marty,
cheating.
if you've been cheating pretty poorly.
No, I know that. Ray's going to take me to court. He's going to create a crime like they did to our former president. But anyway, in Flight 24, I guess that's the Jets website.
Well, no, it's they do a documentary. It's like 3 or 4 parts. Flight 24, that's what they call it. And the last one was, in the room while they were doing the draft. And,
right.
And it was obvious from what Douglas said, they were pining for Corley, but they said, if not Corley, it's going to be Roman Wilson if Corley's not there whenever they get to pick. And my question is, for us, who would we prefer? I'm assuming you guys and I have looked at film on both of these guys. Marty, who would you rather have had?
Let me just give me like 30 seconds just for the fans. Roman Wilson, he's listed at 6 foot 180. Corley's listed at 5'11", 200. I think he's more than 200 though.
Yeah, I think he is, and I didn't know Wilson was that tall.
And yeah, I thought Wilson was more like 5'11".
Yeah,
they both played coincidentally 49 games in college. Wilson had 107 receptions. Corley had 259 receptions. Wilson had 1,770 yards, 20 TDs. Corley had 3,035 yards, 29 TDs. Now, here's something I found interesting. Excuse me. On the Russian, Roman Wilson rushed 7 times only, but for 117 yards and 2 TDs. Malachi Corley rushed for 29 times, but for 92 yards, which isn't a great average, and he had 0 TDs. So as far as who would I like, I kind of liked Roman Wilson. It just seems to me like this guy caught everything that was around him. I loved his catch radius. I really want Malachi Corley to really become a great player, but he was a bit of a gadget player, and I always think the offensive receivers on Michigan were never able to reach their potential because they're a run-first team. So I actually would have liked to have Roman Wilson.
What about you, Ray?
I'm okay with Corley. I mean, I don't like comparing stats on a guy. One guy's on the team that won the national title, and other guy's on a team from, Kumquat State or wherever he was from. But, yeah, I don't know what kind of line they had, what kind of blocking, what kind of coordinator it was, how good the defenses were they were playing against, any of that stuff. I just know the Jets liked him, and for what they, I think, drafted him for, that's why I prefer him. He seems like he's a better fit for what they are looking. I don't think they're looking to hand off the ball to him. I think they're looking for a gadget plays where they throw him the ball and get him out in space and get him working that way more than just hand off and end around or something. We got guys that could have done that. So
Ray, he's gonna get some handoffs though. I can
Well, yeah, they
guarantee
can
that.
mix it in, but I don't think that's really the reason they were drafting him personally.
Well, I think Ray made a good point that, he might not have had as good a blocking, and also he is the guy that defenses were keying on.
Right.
Whereas Roman Wilson's just one of many weapons that they have. So
True.
obviously his numbers aren't going to be as good. Personally, I prefer Roman Wilson's game. First of all, he's a lot faster. And I think he can run some of the route tree, whereas Corley has absolutely no clue about that right now. I even heard Salah just say that.
Right.
I want Corley to be great, but and another thing that worries me a little is, the way he plays. Guys like that don't have a long shelf life sometimes. But and also, I don't know if you've noticed watching a lot of his passes, he lets the ball get to his body a lot. I don't know if I see him make hands catches, but I think he should do that more. Anyway, I would kind of prefer Wilson as his type of receiver.
Ralph, where does that put like Xavier Gibson?
Well, it's a good question. They have like signed a bunch of guys who are Xavier Gibson type. That guy, Marty, that you told me about yesterday that they gave a couple of $1 million to?
2.89. Somebody told me, man, but it's just
I've
under.
never heard of that's like so way out there as far as this
Right.
kind of thing. I don't understand it. I looked at his film and I look at his numbers. He's like about 5'10" or 11, 175, and he does a lot of the same stuff that Gibson does. He's a good player. He's about the same speed in the 40, and I'm really shocked at that number as far as money goes.
I think his name was Marcus Riley. If I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
mistaken.
Which is
Yeah.
not the only Marcus Riley. If you Google Marcus Riley, there's several Marcus Rileys.
Right, right. It was hard to get stuff on him before last year, unless he went to Bethune-Cookman before that. I'm not sure because another Marcus Riley came up.
No, that was it. He went to Bethune-Cookman, then he transferred
Okay.
to Florida A&M. Yeah.
Was
And
there
he,
any tape on him, Ralph?
yeah, there was. I mean, he looked good. He didn't look phenomenal, but he looked good. But he looked, like he was doing similar stuff that Gibson could do.
I don't understand. I mean, I think we all agree that we think Xavier Gibson with the quarterback situation last year, Ray, would you agree that we haven't seen enough of this guy and we
No,
think
not
he
at
has the
all. Yeah.
potential? Ray, what's your thoughts on that?
I think, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think they're always maybe just looking, bring guys in, and if they think they'll upgrade, they'll
Yeah.
move on. I don't think it's something where they're definitely going to move on from Gibson because none of those guys were, well, Corley, if they want to use him kind of like that, which I don't know that they would, but I mean, he might, because they drafted him high enough, he might be in line to take his spot pretty quick. But I think Corley's, like you said, I like the one thing about Wilson is he's more polished, no doubt about it. He went to Michigan. He probably got a little higher end coaching too. And so Corley's a bit of a project, but this guy that, you're talking about, other than the fact that they almost paid him $3 million, which means they must think a lot of him.
Not just them, Ray. I'm guessing that
Well, there
the
was probably
number of teams
competition.
that were bidding for this. That's why he
Yeah.
paid so much. To me,
So,
it's unbelievable.
so
And
everybody
I
saw it.
wonder how Xavier Gibson feels. I don't even know if he's making half of that. But go ahead,
Wonder
Ray.
how Leonard Taylor feels. That guy was projected to be like a second-round pick. He's
Right.
probably getting 1/10 of what that guy's
I
getting.
mean, if Gibson's, any kind of a athlete, he's just going to say, okay, well, there's a challenge, and he's going to go out there and try and win the job. And that's all you can do. So hopefully he doesn't look at it like, oh God, I got one foot out the door already, or whatever. If he does, he's already beaten. So I'd like to see a good competition and find out about these guys, and hopefully they've got the guts to say, if Corley isn't it, don't hang on to him just because you drafted him. And
That ain't gonna happen this
That's
year.
not
no.
going to happen. That's the one thing Belichick would do, but they're not going to do it. Joe Douglas.
well,
But
I'd hate to see him keep somebody and get rid of somebody who,
I
Oh,
listen.
they'll find a way to keep both of them.
I'm not
Oh, no,
saying.
I'm okay if they keep both, but I'm
Yeah.
just don't get rid
Right.
of one guy just because you drafted.
Yeah, I think Corley is a different animal than those two guys because it's this physicalness that they
Yeah.
love so
Yeah.
much.
Right.
These two guys are not physical; they're quick and
Right.
elusive.
Well, we probably still need a punt returner. So
Well, that's the thing I was just gonna ask you guys, is all these guys that a lot of teams are signing, like these 5'9", 5'10", 5'11" players and undrafted free agents, is that because of the new kickoff rule, you think?
Well, I've heard that you need bigger guys on the kickoff now, more physical guys. That's
Well, I'm talking about running it back.
I don't know
Yeah.
about the returner, but the guys who are
Oh.
blocking better be ready to, you
Yeah.
can't just have little guys all back in the back, because
Right.
they're a lot closer. They aren't gonna be going full speed, but they're a hell of a lot closer,
Yeah.
25 yards closer now, so.
Yeah, well, look, I'm a huge Xavier Gibson fan. I was down on him a little last year. Remember, I didn't want him to return punts, and Ralph talked me into it that he should stay there. And people
Yeah.
forget he won that first game when Aaron Rodgers went out on the punt return.
Nobody forgets that. It was the highlight of
that
the
was-
season.
Yeah.
It's like, if
But
it weren't for that, half of Jet Nation would have jumped off a bridge that night.
I think for the quarterback situation, he did okay. He was an undrafted free agent. I want to see what
Yeah, yeah,
else he could
definitely.
do. You know, Ray, they drafted, I guess, Travis William. What was that in the fourth? or
Travis,
fifth round? Travis Jordan.
Jordan Travis.
Was it Jordan Travis?
We always get them.
Travis Williams, remember him from the Green
Oh,
Bay
yeah,
Packers?
yeah.
Marty,
Jordan
it's
Travis.
showing your age.
Jordan Travis, Ray, if he was healthy and he did okay in the college playoffs, what round do you think he would have went in? He went in the fourth round this year, right, Ralph?
Fifth, I
When
think.
did we
Fifth.
take it? Fifth? Yeah.
Fifth,
Right.
yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of them, so I can't say that I saw a lot of his, but he was he was the talk of college football for a lot of the season before he got injured. He was having a great year. I think, if you'd asked me before the draft, I'd have probably said he would have gone mid to late second at the earliest. Now, with the way they were going quarterback crazy there for a while, I'd have been surprised if he made it past early second, late first.
Okay,
Wow.
Ralph, how about you, Ralph?
I would have said late second to late third. That would have been my guess. I don't think. I think his arm strength is adequate for an NFL quarterback, but it's not elite, and I think that would have probably turned some people, kept some people from picking him really high. Not that I don't think he could be a player in this league. I definitely do.
Right. My thing is, and I don't know if I told you guys, I do these things in the morning called the Jet Short with Marty. And it's like a 1-minute thing. And one of the things I did was I said, I'm really nervous going in with the quarterback situation. I don't care what Robert Saleh says. I read a little bit about the Jordan Travis injury, and when I see the word ligaments, the hair goes up in the back of my head. And he's saying that he's going to be ready for training camp. And I don't think he will be. And I don't know if it should be Trevor Siemian or AJ McCarron, but I really think the Jets should sign another quarterback. That's
Pee Wee Herman. We got whatever it is.
We got guys.
Ralph, your thoughts on that, or
On
signing
we
another
should
quarterback?
Well, you're right. I've heard all sorts of conflicting reports on where Travis is at. I'm hoping that they don't rush him. They don't need to. Yeah, they should have a third quarterback.
Besides Jordan Travis.
Yeah, until
I agree.
he's ready. Yeah.
Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think they drafted him with the thought of him being on the field at all this year. So I don't think they're gonna rush him back or anything. I'd be surprised if he did anything but practice, and then the rest of the time, I don't think he'll see the field like in the preseason. I'd be shocked if they even chanced it. I think they drafted him knowing he's a project for a year or two down the road.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay. Next question. Ralph, which of the following players will have the most impact for the Jets this year? Isaiah Davis, what's that? Q Stiggers? What's his first name?
Quintez, I forget.
Tez Stiggers.
Yeah, Tez Stiggers.
Jalen Key, Leonard Taylor, Braden McGregor, or any other undrafted free agent you might want to pick. So I'm going to start with Ralph. I'm going to add something at the end after we give our answers. Go ahead, Ralph.
This is a tough one. I didn't put Braden Allen in there because I would have picked him and it would have been too easy a question for me. But uh, yeah, you're asking me first. I was going to copy Ray's answer.
You probably wouldn't.
I'm going to say Davis because I think he's going to be a special teams guy. And you know, I think he'll get some play. No, you know what? I'm going to go with Stiggers.
Just 'cause
Okay.
I'm going to go with Stiggers because he is a good athlete, and you know the interesting thing about him is you know he's long. He's about 6 foot plus maybe, and he can really jump and got good ball skills. So I'm thinking if he doesn't work out at corner, they could turn him
Safety
into a safety. Yeah.
is exactly what I thought of. Ray, how about you?
That's funny because I didn't think Ralph would ever say Davis, but he did.
No,
That's,
I changed.
I know, but I was like, you said you're thinking about because I said you'll never because you didn't really care for the
No, I didn't care for that
pick,
pick.
so I thought you ain't picking him. And I don't know, you know, you might be right on Stiggers. He has a little bit of flexibility of where they could put him, but Davis is pretty well, you know, slotted as a running back, period. So, but I went with Davis because maybe he can return punts or something and do something like that. And I mean, I know running backs aren't the focus anymore on the offense, but you still got to have depth there. So, um, I think he could make an impact if we need him at some point in the season to, you know, get in
Right.
there and do something.
I, I'm going to go with Leonard Taylor. And is his full name Leonard Taylor the third? Is it? Or
Yeah, that's what they say.
Leonard Taylor the third from Miami. He is a talented player that he was projected last year, something like in the second or third round. He had a rough season, and there was some issues, maybe with his character. But anything you want to say about the Jets coaching staff and Robert Saleh in particular, you can. Anything negative, but you got to give them credit for developing defensive linemen. They've done that pretty well. And I hope that they can get the most out of this Leonard Taylor. And what's interesting, guys, I was thinking about it. When you talk about did the Jets have a good draft, did they not have a good draft? If you were to reverse and put Leonard Taylor the third as the fifth round pick and Isaiah Davis as a undrafted free agent signing, would that draft sound a whole lot better?
Yeah, exactly. I've thought about that, Marty. Definitely.
Yeah. So it's like I guess what's the saying about perception, right?
Yeah. Let
Interesting.
me ask you something. I can't. How many defensive linemen do you think they're going to carry? Because my feeling is that I don't think they might not be able to hide Leonard Taylor on the practice squad.
Oh, they can't. They won't.
Yeah.
No,
So that would mean unless they're going to cut like Michael Clemens, they'd have to go with 9. Is that high or is that what they did last year?
I don't remember. But Ray, do you have any recollection of how many they kept? I mean, we could go through it
Yeah.
if you want to do it. But again, I don't want to cut him, but I think Michael Clemens, his job is on the line. He's playing
Mm.
for his job this summer.
Well, it's true they had Lawson and McDonald, and one or the other would not dress for games, it seemed like.
Right.
So they probably had like 9 they were rotating around. So yeah, I think he's going to make the roster. I really like Braden McGregor too. I like
But
with motors.
Ralph,
They
I understand that, but I always say you like Brady McGregor. Then how come his college coach didn't draft him?
well, you know, you can say that. I mean, if we look at Harbaugh's drafts, he probably skipped a lot of his own players. You know,
Right.
maybe it was need. Maybe he didn't feel like he needed that and whatever.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, yeah.
Okay. I have something I want to mention. Talking about these guys, I was looking up some stuff, and one of the undrafted free agents is this offensive lineman from Arkansas, which is interesting because he might not be the best athlete, but uh, he played in the first year he was there, 2019. He played 2 games. After that, he played in 46 games in 4 years. Could you guess how many he started?
46.
Correct. To me, that carries a lot of weight. Now, he seems to be, and Arkansas, and Ray, you could verify this. I think they have a pretty tough schedule generally.
Well, they're in the SEC, so it's got to be tough.
Yeah. So
Right.
he's going up against good competition. I think this guy could be like a Max Mitchell 2.0, just be able to make the team, but I think he might have more potential than staying. So I want to keep an eye on this guy, Brady Latham. Okay, guys. Now, I have a Marty's quick trivia. I'm going to give the answer right away. You ready? Everyone knows our offensive line the last 3 years has been like Swiss cheese. And we can never have it. What's that, Ray?
Just the last three. Seems
Well,
like-
last 50. Yeah. Where's Winston Hill when we need him? But, it's funny. You say to yourself, how many times did we start same 5 players, right? It's like ridiculous. There were 2 NFL teams that started the same offensive lineman in all 17 games, 2 out of
Wow.
32. Take a guess and try to name who they were.
Kansas City.
I was
Nope.
gonna say Kansas City too.
I figure you go with the good teams. Baltimore.
Houston?
Baltimore, I'll say.
Nope.
Texans,
Nope. You ready?
Yeah.
Dolphins,
Any more guess? I'll give you 2 more guesses each.
San Francisco.
Nope. Give me a second guess, Ralph.
Philly. No, not Philly. I know Philly didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know. Jacksonville.
No, Ray.
Cincinnati.
Yes,
What's
I
it?
was going to say that's one of them. The Bengals. And who's the other
Wow,
team?
that's bizarre. Considering that that poor guy is
Yep.
getting killed all the time, right?
The other team is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals, they started the same 5 players for all 17 games. I find that incredible too.
It is amazing, yeah.
It's
You'd think
amazing.
that with that, well, the Bengals, they didn't even make the playoffs, did they?
No.
No, because Burrow was out.
He got hurt.
Buffalo, man, I mean, that's their chance to get their offensive line intact the whole year. Wow.
Pittsburgh did that the year before. I wonder if the only one last year was when they replaced the guy
Roderick Jones,
Roderick
yeah,
Jones moved him in, and
to right tackle, yeah.
I think he's an anchor
Well,
there. too.
well,
It's
Well,
back-
while you were talking about that, Ray, I mean, maybe I'm overly concerned. I don't think Tyrone Smith is really going to practice during the week. And we've always maintained that, the offensive line, you have to have some sort of cohesion and chemistry. It's like, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers knowing where the next move is, and the guy next to you. Am I overreacting as usual, Ray, or is it a concern? I'm overly, I shouldn't worry about it that they're going to start the season. It's going to be Tyrone Smith on the bicycle, along with Moses, what's his name, on the bicycle. I mean, is that what's going to happen, Ray? I mean, is it a big concern?
I mean, you can't rule it out. They're both in their 30s and have injury histories, and Tyron Smith hasn't played a full season since in 8 years. So why would this be the year he does? But I think he'll, at least early on, I think he'll practice a lot with them. Because like you said, they got to have some cohesion and stuff, and he's not going to learn that by only playing in games. He's got to be on the field. But I don't know how much they'll use him when it comes to preseason games. I don't know any of that, but I think he'll, at least till the season starts, I think he'll practice a lot.
All right. How about you, Ralph?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Ray said. I don't know how much contact, but I think he'll be out there. And I'm sure there will be a lot of discussions with him and John Simpson and Tippmann on getting on the same page. So, he's such a veteran. I feel like he'll be able to handle that. I'm not worried about it, actually.
Okay. And Ralph, while I have you on, why don't you read that Canadian football question? Because
Yeah, so, because we got Stiggers, I was just curious what you guys thought about how the quality competitively of Canadian football compares with Division I college football in the US. For example, if Georgia, Alabama, or Michigan were to play the Grey Cup champion using US rules, because that's where this kid's going to play, who do you think would win that? And
That's a very good question, but I would probably take Georgia, Alabama, or Michigan, just because those teams, they have, the last few years, so many players have gone into the pros. And not all of them, but a lot of them have made the teams. I don't see guys from the Canadian Football League coming every year. I mean, I know there are one, two, or three, but I don't think there's more than like six that I hear of. So my feeling is I'd go for the college team if I was a betting man. How about you, Ray?
Yeah. I thought you were just talking in general at first, Ralph. So I mean,
yeah, well, I guess I'm asking that in general too. It was two different questions. So
in
yeah,
general, I would definitely say that the top college programs are better. And now the champion of the CFL would probably be a more of a game than most of the others, I think. But I still think, because I don't watch a lot of it, but I'm just thinking if they were talented enough, they'd be in the NFL. They wouldn't be in the CFL.
right.
So I still think that our top college teams now, they might be comparable to like the FBS division, like what used to be 1AA. And you can't sleep on them either, as Michigan found out when Appalachia State knocked them off there about
Right.
been several
Right.
years, but they were the what FBS Division 1AA champs when they played the
Right,
year
right.
played them. So there's some good talent at that level.
Yeah.
I think that's more along what I see the Canadian League
Mhm.
as
All
being.
right.
I thought, yeah,
I,
I
I
thought
want,
that as far as going up, I think the one advantage they have is that they have guys who are all grown men in their mid to late 20s and 30s. But yeah, talent wise, athletic wise, they I don't think they could compete with Georgia, Alabama. I had them sort of as a lower Division 1A, like Furman or Western Kentucky or something like that. I think they could probably play on that level. I think they'd be better than the 2-1 AA. But
well, Ralph,
it's
let me ask you this. If you were to take the college All-Americans, they would wipe up the Canadian team. But if you took like the Canadian, I don't know what they have, all pros there, the best
Mhm.
53 from all the teams, and they played either Georgia, Alabama, or Michigan, would that change at all as far as who would win?
It might be more competitive, but I think I'd still go with the athletes and even though these guys are younger, their linemen in Georgia and Alabama are probably bigger than the linemen in the
Right,
Canadian League. I think the Canadian League linemen aren't as big because the field is so much bigger that they have to be a little more mobile.
right. Now, as far as Ted Stigers, uh,
Yeah,
who everyone has heard his biography
it's
that
the best story in the draft.
yeah,
How
he
many?
played and
What
he
have you
had.
heard more? That or that Malachi Corley is Debo Samuel?
I'm so sick of both. But the question is, I guess if you're going to take someone from the Canadian League, I mean, because the field is more wide open and more for, I guess they have longer passes or a bit more sideline passes. I guess he had 5 interceptions. I mean, they got the right position if they're going to
Yeah,
play it from there. So that in itself, I find a little bit exciting. I know the Jets defensive secondary coach, who's at Odin, who I really
Tony Oden. Yeah,
Tony Odin, he really developed a close relationship with this guy and wanted him bad.
yeah.
I'm a little bit excited for that player too. But Ray, with the returning players and we have our share of injuries, which injury are you concerned with the most? Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams, Chuck Clark, or AVT?
Um, I don't. Obviously, Rogers is always going to be a concern, but I think with Tyrod Taylor, we have a capable backup finally. I said AVT, but I'm leaning more towards Chuck Clark because I'm not sure about the depth at safety. AVT is, but he's a great lineman if we can just get him on the field to stay there, and we can put him at so many spots. So that concerns me from that standpoint. Is he's good no matter where we put him. So I just would love for him to be healthy, and it'd kill me if he goes down. But the one that worries me as far as depth is Chuck Clark.
Okay, and I'll go next. To me, it's AVT. I want a year. I want a year like the Bengals and the Bills had last year. I want this offensive line to be together. It's just so if Rodgers gets hurt to get hurt again, Ray Clifford could go back a quarterback and hand off to Brees Hall. I just want to have a solid offensive line. So I'd say AVT. How about you, Ralph?
Yeah, I say AVT too, for a couple of reasons. One, the Achilles. I mean, when you watch linemen pass blocking, they are putting so much pressure on their legs. And I'm still not clear on whether this guy's going to be ready or not. The information on him is very vague, and I'm
Don't believe
concerned
it.
about that.
I know
I don't think
you
he'll be
can,
ready, at the start. I think he'll be on the pup list to start the year.
of course he will be. Yeah,
You
he'll
know,
be
that
one of the
guy-
guys on the bicycles.
So
how far into the season were we when he got hurt?
probably like 5 or 6 games, I think, into
I
the
thought it was
season.
around mid-season.
Who's gonna step in for him? Wes Schweitzer or that guy Newman?
Not Newman. Wes Schweitzer, I don't think is that bad. He got hurt too last year. But it's interesting. If you listen to a lot of the sound bites, this might have been a hint on AVT's injury because Aaron Rodgers said that Olaf Fashano, he could also move into guard if we need him, which is
Answered
which
that in his initial presser, which of course, what's he gonna say? He goes, I'll do anything, I'll play anywhere.
right. Yeah, no, I know that. So, but I just
But he said he's never played guard either, so
right.
that's
I
not a
know.
good.
I just thought it was funny the way that came out.
By the
Ralph.
way, for all you people who are superstitious, be prepared because I think the Jets are going to be playing Denver again this year. They both
But-
finished third in their division, but it better be in New York this
It's in
time.
New York. I think
It
it's
is.
in New York from what I
God,
heard.
it better be.
Yeah.
Although New York's surface is nothing to write home about either.
Ralph, Aaron Rodgers. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let's do the Tyrod Taylor question.
Yeah, this is kind of an
Well,
interesting
we're talking about
question.
injuries. If
Hmm.
he started all 17 games, how many do you think the Jets would win?
Who are you asking?
Ralph. Is your name Ralph?
Yeah. Well, I gotta get my
This is
ID.
on the
Hold
screen,
on. I'll say 9, maybe. Yeah, I'd say at between 8 and 10. So I'll go 9.
Right. How about you, Ray?
I was gonna say 10, but saying I don't think we'd go. I think that would be my ceiling for that. I thought 9 or 10, but I think we could get 10 out of him.
Yeah, I say 9 or 10 also. We're right. That's the sweet spot.
Hmm.
And hopefully,
It's a possibility of the playoffs. I think if we hit 10,
yes, absolutely, yeah. Okay, and Ray, in the preseason this year, which is let's see, it's May. By the way, we're recording this on May 3rd.
a little late, Marty. What time did we start?
We started at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, but that's okay. How many snaps, Ray, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to take in the preseason this year?
I put hopefully none. I mean, I'll be glad if he practices a lot, but I don't want him on the field chancing, taking any hits behind an offensive line that I don't think is, quite where I want him to be by the time the season starts.
Well, okay, Ralph, how many do you think?
I think he's going to insist on a series. So I'm going to say like 7. He'll get a field goal out of it.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree with Ralph. I think he's going to get a quarter.
You're probably right. That's what I said.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And Ralph, we'll start with you on this. If Douglas were to resign Corey Davis, would you consider?
No, it's 2 questions. Do you think that Douglas should sign? Are you Corey
Good. Should he
Davis at
sign
this
Corey
point?
Davis at this point, Ralph?
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I still feel like they need another receiver with some size, because we don't know what Mike Williams again is what his status is and how long it's going to be before he's playing at a high level. So yeah, I would say I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
No confidence that Brownlee could develop into something? You don't want to hang your hat on that.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not a huge Corey Davis fan. I mean, he did okay, but he dropped some third down catches his first year, which everybody remembers the touchdown pass that Zach threw to him. But he's good. He never played up to where he was drafted,
No.
NFL draft. But yeah, how about you?
Well, many don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no one does. We're the only three to play up to our draft status. It's incredible. I keep sending you stuff, right? You see these guys not signed to second contracts. It's really
I
incredible.
know. I know.
And as you were saying, Ralph, a few weeks ago, it's amazing how much money these organizations put into it.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Ray, what about you? What about you and Corey Davis?
I'd be okay with it. I don't think it's a must, but I'd be okay with it. I think, one thing I keep saying is Rodgers throws a very catchable ball. So I think, I don't think you're going to see the drops the way you did with some of the others from any of these. Even Lazard, I think, will be a much better receiver if he's still on the team under Rodgers than he was with, these guys that we had last year.
Right.
But I mean, so if they do, that's fine. That's more depth, but I don't think it's a must.
And the second Corey Davis question is: do you consider his 2 years with the Jets to be a successful free agent signing? I'll start. I say I don't think so. I just don't. I have nothing else to add. Go ahead, Ralph.
I think the bar is really low on free agent signings. So I'm going to say barely, yeah, because it's just, I mean, there's so many guys who are disasters, and we paid so much money for that. I think, we paid decent money for him, and he gave us decent production. So I guess that's a success in this day and age.
Ralph, let me ask you this before Ray answers. How good a signing, and was it one of our best signings ever, DJ Reed as a free agent?
Well, that's one of the exceptions. Yeah, that was an excellent free agent signing, but I'd say the majority of them were worse than Corey Davis, wouldn't you say, Ray?
Yeah. I mean, Corey Davis was far from a bust. I mean, he's already been better than Lazard. Hopefully Lazard has
Really?
but nobody's counting on that if he's on the team. I don't know if they're still going to try and trade him or anything, but he had his moments. I mean, Marty gets stuck on, one or two plays first year, and that's all he keeps reminding you. Yeah, he dropped some passes, no doubt about it. But he also he didn't have the best quarterback throwing to him.
No,
No.
that's fair. That's fair, right? That's fair. Yeah. But just mentioning that DJ Reed, how many free agents worked out? I mean, who's the running back Jones they signed? Thomas Jones.
Yeah.
Brian Cox.
Boy, we're going way back.
1 year.
Parcells had some great ones. Kevin Mawai.
Yeah, well, this is in a different lifetime. I'm talking about the last
All right.
15 years.
Yeah, you gotta take what's there.
Wow.
It's true. And then we hit the slump with the Trumaine Johnsons and
Levy and Bell and
Levy and Bell, yeah.
God, and Randall Cobb.
All right, Ralph. My favorite topic is
Laken Tomlinson.
Lakeland Tomlinson. Who do you take? So why don't you give us the who do you take on this week? How many we have? 2?
I have one on the top of my head, actually.
Okay. And explain how this works to our new fans.
Well, we pick former Jets who played similar positions and had similar levels of success, and we sort of debate who we like better as a player. In this one, we have 2 guys who played the same position, but they were diametric opposites as far as their styles go, and that's Richard Castor and Mickey Schuler.
Oof. That's pretty good. I'm a huge fan of both of them. I would say Castor, just because and he did have the dropsies too at the beginning, but
yeah,
he was more of a home run hitter than Mickey Schuler, but I love them both. So I would say Rich Castor. Ray?
Saying I loved them both, but I'd go with Castor because I think he fits today's game better. I think Castor would have been dynamic in today's football world. So, I'd like him, but I like Schuler a lot. So,
Yeah, statistically, I imagine Schuler probably owns most
Oh,
the
kills
tight
him,
end
yeah.
records on the Jets,
Yeah.
except
Right.
for yards per catch, which would be Castor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go with Castor too. May he rest in peace. He just died recently.
Yes, he did.
He was exciting. He really was. We just haven't had too many really exciting players over their history, and he was
Who's
definitely
the
one
other
of them.
tight end that was right after him? Who was the tight end?
Well, Barkham and he sort of
Barkham was,
flip-flopped.
yeah, Barkham was good.
Well, one of them played wide receiver, one played
Right.
tight end, and they flipped, and Barkham became the tight end, and Castor became the wide receiver. It's kind of
Right.
strange.
We're gonna close this out with the trivia answer. Ralph's gonna repeat it, but before we do, I heard a scout talking, and I want to ask both of you. I'll start with Ralph. This Braylon Allen, do you think he has a NFL speed? Is he quick enough to play back in the NFL? Because this scout was questioning it. This scout, I heard him say that in the middle of it, he had to stop it and just check his VCR or whatever it is, just to see that it was on the right speed. He didn't think he had enough explosion.
You know, I okay. The guy played 3 years. His average run per year with a whole 3 years is 6. Um, he had a touchdown run his freshman year of 96. I think he had
Right.
one 72 next year, 150. He's not Bo Jackson, but he actually is pretty light on his feet. And once yes, he's fast enough
Okay.
to. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say that. I just think it's lazy of them not to realize. I mean, if a guy runs 96 yards,
That
he's you know.
fair enough. Ray, any thoughts on that before we get back to the trivia question?
Who was the guy who was ripping him?
Some scout I heard talking
Yeah.
about him that he said he was watching him and he didn't understand the pick. And he said when he was looking at the tape, he had to actually stop it and check his recorder to see if the speed was going in the regular motion because he thought he was so slow hitting the hole or
Yeah.
coming out.
Oh,
I have, in all honesty, full disclosure, I haven't watched a lot of tape on him.
He actually and sometimes he will, like Brees Hall, sort of wait for his hole to open, which is
Which I
fine.
like. Is
Yeah.
he good at it, Ralph?
Yeah, but he is good at it. But one of the critiques I've heard of him, because he is such a big guy and so strong. I don't know if you've seen some of his weightlifting,
Yeah, I
Marty.
have.
Is that he tries to be a little more finesse than power back. I mean, I've seen him truck some defensive backs, lower his head and just knock them over. But they want him to. I'm sure the Jets are going to encourage him to do that more and less of the dancing around. But he can do that.
Right.
So I think he's a very interesting back, actually.
Okay.
I don't think we drafted him because he's shifty and super fast either. I think, he fits a role. And I think, if he's not the quickest guy to the hole, but he's patient and can get 3 and 4 yards of carry, that's fine. Why do why do they have to jump off the screen at you as like the fastest guy, off the
I
snap?
mean, yeah, Izzy is one of those guys, and they don't even want to play him.
He's not gonna. I tell you, I never liked Izzy. I mean, he has some speed, but I don't think he's gonna make the team.
I'm going to send you a video of this guy who his name is Luke Play Like a Jet. He breaks down film. He's got like a Scottish or Irish accent. He really knows his stuff.
What's his name?
And his name is Luke, I think. Anyway, it's
Oh yeah, I know who you mean.
Play Like a
I've
Jet.
seen his
So
stuff.
he did
Yeah.
this one on Braylon Allen, and at the beginning he's doing his running, Marty, but then at one point he starts doing close-ups of his pass blocking. And I've read all these pass blocking stats of him, like third worst in the country. You watch some of his pass blocking technique, it's really amazing. I'm going to send this to you. So, if you want to pick it up just at the pass blocking, or if you can watch at the beginning, it's probably about a 10-minute video.
Yeah. Okay. I'd love to watch it.
You wanna hear what Athlon's draft mag said about Braylon Allen?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
Strengths. A massive prospect with rare size for the position, Allen brings a unique presence to the offensive backfield. Despite his big frame, Allen has a fairly well-rounded skill set that features a strong blend of power and agility with surprising lateral quickness for such a big runner. He's light on his feet and has more east-west wiggle than you might expect. He's every bit as powerful as a 245-pound back should be, winning short yardage situations with regularity and breaking tackles with ease. He's got solid vision and patience with a good understanding of how to set up and follow blocks. He'll also be just 20 years old for his entire rookie season.
It's
I
okay.
just-
I feel better now, Ray. Good.
No,
And I like,
it was like Ralph was saying, he's not, he's patient. He finds the hole. He follows his blockers. He sounds more almost like like a more than a big runner. He sounds like a smaller runner who, knows how to hit.
right.
Like I said, he can do either, but I think the Jets are gonna probably encourage him to take on tacklers more than try and avoid them.
By the way, do we know who is the Jets now running back coach? Do we have any idea?
Oh, the running back coach, that's a good question.
Okay, because I think that's a big deal with
Hmm.
they drafted two
They drafted two, and Izzy still has a lot to learn, even though
it's a guy named Tony Dews, Dews.
Oh, I've heard of him. Yeah, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay.
So he's going to teach them the do's and don'ts, I guess, of running.
Yeah, okay. And then there's another guy, he was there, then he left, Embry.
Yeah, I remember
Left.
him.
Yeah, okay, so Tony Dews, I'll look into this guy. And he was with the Tennessee Titans, I guess, before, which
Oh, so he was with Keith Carter.
with all the
Yeah.
Jets coaches.
Well,
So
the interesting thing about Braylon Allen is that he has a relationship with Derrick Henry. I talked about that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And of course, Keith Carter, coached Derrick Henry, and I guess Tony Dews
right.
did too. So, and obviously Henry did well. So, well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Ralph, let's get back to that trivia question.
Oh yeah, the
I've
trivia
been
question.
slowly writing down names. I'm going to ask Ray if he'll yield to me.
Yeah, Ray, start thinking. I'll do the question slowly, give you guys a chance to think. On the Jets roster currently, there are 9 players who at some point in their career, whether it be on the Jets or on another team, made a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro team.
All
How
right,
many of them can you name?
I'm going to go first. I got 6. I know there's 9, but
All right, let me check them off because I have a feeling you're going to name a couple that you're wrong on. Go.
Tyron Smith,
Correct.
Sauce Gardner,
Yep.
Quinion Williams,
Yep.
C.J. Mosley,
Correct.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God, I forgot about Rodgers. That's 10. I swear.
Okay.
Has he actually been on our team? Yeah.
Yeah, he's easy to forget.
That's
And
hilarious. Okay, 10 now.
all right, and I put I just took a wild guess. I put Garrett Wilson, but I don't know if he made it.
He did not.
Okay, so I'm wrong in that. I got 5 out of 10. Go ahead, Ray.
Quincy Williams, right?
That's
Oh,
right.
Right,
Yes.
Ray, that was great.
Solomon Thomas.
Oh God, no, I don't think.
You didn't make any?
Ray.
Oh, but I thought he might have made one in San
No.
Fran.
No, in college, you made it.
Yeah.
How about Chuck Clark?
No.
I'm done.
Well, Ray, you would have got some of mine, right?
Oh yeah, I
you
had,
would've-
other than Gardner, I
Ralph, you
had.
got to give Ray credit for like 6. He won more than me. He would have gotten all of mine. I know.
All right.
No, I didn't. I forgot about Gardner, but I did have Rodgers though.
Okay.
I can't believe I forgot about Rodgers. It's hilarious. Okay. Hassan Reddick.
Oh, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Jermaine Johnson. He was in the Pro Bowl last year.
Oh, he made it? What, was he a substitute?
I think he subbed in for someone. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think. Yeah.
That was a-
And Thomas Morstead
that's great. That's a kind
Another
of
kicker too.
and
That's
Greg
great.
Z. Greg Z is in it too.
You don't
Ah.
even think about kickers when you do this.
that's true. You know,
I mean,
that's,
kickers that play for 20 years, so they're bound to get in one,
yeah, you're right. Ralph, that's a great question, though.
I got one thing I want to say, though, Marty,
Go
which
ahead.
makes no sense to me. Last year, Quincy Williams was first team All Pro,
Yes.
but he didn't go to the Pro Bowl. How could that be possible?
I saw that, and I thought the same thing last year. I have no idea. How was the Pro Bowl taken? Which one, do
I
they
think
have
All
the
Pro is
players?
more prestigious than the Pro Bowl.
I understand that it's more
Yeah.
prestigious, and I understand the Pro Bowl is like diluted. Guys don't want to go. It's like the baseball All-Star game sometimes. But how is it? Is one of them picked by their peers, the other by fans, the others by the writers? Do you know how each one is picked?
I don't know, but either way, a first team all it's
Of course, I know.
impossible.
And he deserved to be first team all.
Yeah.
Don't
He
the
really
players
did.
vote on the All Pro?
That's what I'm thinking. That the players
The
vote.
players have vote on the All Pro.
Okay, that's
Should
good,
make
and-
it
which
more.
is good,
Yeah,
which
it
is
is.
good. And you know, he's improved every year, and I think his best improvement is, and I think it only happened once, he's able to hold back and not give that extra hit and get that penalty, which he got his first couple of years. And listen, if he keeps it up, that guy he's outstanding to watch. He really
Yeah,
is.
he'll be fun for a few years,
I think one of
definitely.
his biggest adjustments was not that he didn't pick up, not just that he didn't pick up penalties, but he quit going for the huge hit every time.
He
Started
did.
playing the man, and he even said I could have had a couple picks the year before, but I was going for the big hit and didn't even see the ball. So
Listen, look, I got to tell you guys too. The New York Jets defense, it doesn't matter who you put in, they have the worst hands for interceptions. And if any team I've ever seen in the NFL, I don't care the year, I've never seen so many interceptions in the hands just dropped by the Jets defense. It happens every stinking year. And I know,
Well, they certainly practice enough. You watch
I
them,
know,
and the DBs
I
are
think that's what
catching
they
balls.
look for when they're scouting him. He's
And I
got
know-
strong hands. He's our kind of guy.
and I know the safety that we let go and he went back to Tampa Bay. He had what, 5 interceptions last year?
Yeah.
We had 3 in the first game.
Three in the
Yeah.
first game, which was incredible.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
let me just say one thing
Go
that's
ahead,
pretty ironic. That super draft they had 2 years ago, they had Sauce, they had Garrett, they had JJ, and they had Brees Hall. And if you were to say Jermaine Johnson's going to be the first of those 4 to make a Pro Bowl, that's pretty
That's
amazing.
pretty interesting. Yeah, it is
He
interesting.
did have
Yeah.
a great year, though. I mean,
Well-
the numbers don't look as good as he played, even.
He
Right.
did have as Marty said, he got held more than anyone else in the league. Maybe they took that
It was
into
unbelievable.
account.
Even when it was obvious to everyone not watching on
Yeah.
TV and everywhere else, it
But-
wasn't obvious to the rest.
But again, whatever you say about Robert Saleh, he's not, he shouldn't be anything but a coordinator. He developed, look at Jermaine Johnson 1 year to the next. Look at Quincy Williams, how he developed him.
Bryce Huff,
Bryce Huff. There's something to be said about, him.
JFM too. When he got
John
here,
Franklin Myers. He
yeah.
was, and then Joe Douglas picked him, I believe,
Yeah.
off waivers from who's the Jaguars?
Or
Rams.
Rams? Yeah,
yeah.
Rams, yeah. So, all right, that's it. Anything else before we close it out? Jets, Knicks, Rangers, anything else, guys? Okay. So for Ray Clifford in Ohio, Ralph Schrager in Massachusetts, and I'm in Valley Cottage. The Jets continue this weekend their rookie mini camp, and then we're going to have the schedule announced. And then in June, there's the Veterans Camp, and then we wait till training camp. So for all of us at Jets Rewind, until next time.